I'm Jay Taylor. I'm backstage here with Peter Tallman. He is the president and CEO of Klondike Gold Corp. He is also a geologist, and he is the first geologist to systematically explore the source of the great Klondike gold rush of the late 1800s. Where did all this gold come from? Well, some of the people thought that, some geologists even, I think geologists didn't look very seriously at the story, thought that maybe it had all been eroded away because they didn't find it quickly and easily. But Peter Tallman, with his persistence, has systematically explored this over the last few years. I have been following the stock since 2016, believing in Peter and his ability to, if it exists there, to find it. And by golly, it looks like he has. It looks like he and his team at Klondike have found the Motherload, the source of gold for that great Klondike gold rush of the 1800s. Thanks for joining me, Peter.
Jay, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, tell us what you've learned so far. I mean, you've been 4 years or so, maybe 5 years now, and you've worked really hard and systematically, and it looks like you found the Motherload, the source of all that gold. What have you learned so far, and how is that guiding your exploration for this year?
We don't have time for me to tell you all I've learned, but
yeah.
And it has not been, the quick and easy approach to the Klondike didn't work and wouldn't have worked. And it has been a journey into the nitty gritty of science, basically. And so fundamentally, what we see are a series of faults crisscrossing in the form of a checkerboard is the easiest way to imagine it, where each one of the lines on the checkerboard are potentially mineralized. Where they cross over now we think has exceptional potential for some of the spectacular gold that has come out of the Klondike historically. We've been looking for that. Like, where are the big nuggets, like the 10 to 20 ounce nuggets that came out of here originally? And we think they come structurally from that particular area. So we now have it's taken a while to develop the model. When we arrived, there were no faults in the Klondike at all, none mapped, some were imagined, but nobody really understood, like, what is it, where is it? And so just from a basic understanding, we've gone from 0 to, we're not at 100, but we're probably in the 70 to 80% range now. And now we're targeting down on the kind of the 10 to 50 meter scale as opposed to the 1 to 2 kilometer scale. Mm-hmm. And that's because we own the entire belt. So there's 600 square kilometers of playground to go look in. And the whole belt has produced an enormous amount of gold in placer from the creeks historically. We know that all of these faults that we can see and image now extend through the belt to explain where all the gold came from in each one of those individual creeks. So we have a source there are 24 major creeks historically produced lots of gold here. And we know that there's a source of gold in each individual one of those creeks.
Right. It's enormous. I mean, your project stretches some 55 kilometers, doesn't it? Sort of trending northwest.
55 kilometers from one end to the other, and 10 to 15 kilometers in mid.
And you've had disseminated gold that you've seen there, as well as some high grade hits as well, and one in particular that was just really mind blowing. Maybe just mention that one. Not that the whole project rests on one drill result, but it was quite spectacular.
Well, the initial exploration, so this is an orogenic gold system, and I'm going to say that it's common for the original exploration model to be looking for disseminated gold in that. It's just the easiest thing to find because it's big and wide and broad, and mm-hmm. From a soil geochemical anomaly, that's what you find first. And so that's really what we've targeted. And coincidentally, we drilled last year that it is a massive seam of gold. It was 1,000 grams gold and 1,000 grams silver over a meter. and that's one of those high grade hits that we've suspected were here, and these are massive, like it's a massive seam of gold. It's just, you know, the width of my hand, and the plus or minor guy, they have nuggets that look like that.
Yeah.
And they're derived directly from the bedrock. Okay, so where are they? Well, we hit one, and as a result, we know that that potential is here as well, which fits the model.
Right. So, I mean, you're going to be drilling this summer. You're going to be looking, I suppose, focusing primarily on your new understanding of those cross sections where the high grades are likely to rest, where they've been deposited. But what are your plans? What are your objectives for this summer's drill program? And then when do you think you might have a resource that you could make public?
Well, and so again, COVID has affected us, and the risk, if you'd asked me this question in early mid-March, it looked like there was not going to be an exploration season for anybody this year, particularly in Yukon. And Yukon itself, I'd say that the population are inordinately more susceptible to COVID. They're more elderly, and particularly the First Nations are. And so it's more of an issue here. And I have to say that, you know, in general, I'd say everybody here is pretty fearful. So I'm here in Dawson in part to get a drilling program underway. And it's been a challenge from the regulatory perspective. We are going to be the first ones drilling in the territory, and there's kind of a regulatory spotlight on us. So we're doing the simplest thing first, and we're going to go back to Lone Star, which is where this disseminated potential open pit is, and infill there. And it's flat, it's easy, it's quick, and what that does is it gives us a good handle on what we've been saying, or what we think is, all right, how many ounces are contained in this one little section of Lone Star? And we hope to see 50 to 75,000 ounces. That's an imaginary number. That's what we're doing to test. But if so, it's in a geometry so far that looks really amenable to making a nice open pit. And then we're going to do that at the standard zone, so the other zone, and that has equivalent potential. All of this is, the gold is at surface, so when we start drilling, we hit it at surface down to 20 to 40 meters. So you asked about a mineral resource. This is the beginning of it, and going that transition from pure exploration to kind of dreaming that there's gold in the rocks to, hey, how much is there? And I'm ahead of the market. I can see conceptually, oh, a whole lot of gold here. And so we just have to start now looking at, is any of it economic? And this year, the first two phases of drilling are going to show, I think, the market that absolutely, at least some of this is wildly economic, because it all sits at surface and it's all it's all nice and amenable. So I know you're going to ask that what the market should be looking for.
Yes.
Is the first 10 holes are at Lone Star, and is there continuity in grade and big width? And it's well, we have a whatever. So and then we're going to step down to the standard zone and drill 5 holes at least there. And again, is there grade and continuity in that? And if those 15 holes hit, or the majority of them do, they imply that we have ounces, and now we start the engineering of, can we extract them? And we're already doing bench kind of paper modeling of it in anticipation. So it looks good.
Okay, those are things we want to be watching for, and hopefully you'll be able to get that drill program completed in spite of COVID-19, and maybe we can start to see some economics in this project. I mean, I've always believed it has the potential. And continuity is one thing that I've wondered about, Peter, because, you know, you have those high grades at times and you have disseminated, but how it holds together, of course, that's always what matters with the project, isn't it? So, yeah, so you're well funded to go through this year, are you?
I had a pretty big financing done going into the PDAC, and then at PDAC, everything tanked. So we raised, again, the issue was, can you actually run an exploration program in 2020 And the risk was the answer being no,
Mhm.
none. And so we didn't raise much because potentially it was all dead money for the entire year. And so that's what I'm operating on. So we have a small budget to start, and we're being pretty mindful of what we spend it on. And I would like, now the share price has recovered to pretty much what it was at PDAC.
Yeah.
So I'm anticipating going at some stage, hopefully with some results that say, look, we have something that is pretty good looking, and raise some more money.
Okay.
As always, we're a junior.
Yeah.
I'll say this though, that one of the unique things in Klondike is that we have placer rights, and we sub some of that off to a company called Dulac Mining, who are mining now. They're recovering gravel from Upper El Dorado Creek, and that placer deposit looks better and better all the time. So I expect we're going to get some decent revenue out of that this year.
Okay.
And that's going to help too.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on it for sure. In my newsletter, I'll be following you closely and look forward to talking to you from time to time. So thank you very much, Peter, and all the best to you for a successful year up there in the Yukon. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, Jay.